months ago.
Let's talk about SeatGeek. You want to do that right now on the podcast? SeatGeek, buying tickets online for sports and concerts has been a confusing process for a long time. It's always been hard to find the best deal for the game or show that you want to go to. And none of the older ticket sites want to change that, but you know what? SeatGeek is different. They've come along and created an amazing app and website that makes it easier than ever for fans to buy and sell tickets. Talk about my personal experience here. Hey, I bought tickets for the World Series. No, I didn't. But you know what? If I did, it would have been really easy on SeatGeek. SeatGeek is always the first place I go to look for tickets for games or concerts. Austin, I have a SeatGeek app on my phone.
Yeah, do you?
I do. And I used it just the other day to look for tickets for insert gamer concert here.
Wow, how was Gamer Concert?
Gamer concert was great. But honestly, Kevin Smith always rolls in town, so I'll probably, next time he rolls in Denton or wherever, I'll probably use it for that. Because I love me some Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
Still?
when Entertainer...
Yeah, he still does that. He goes to Denton a lot.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
I'm not going to slow you down because TC yells at me when I
He
slow
yells at
down.
me too.
So.
That's why I'm going fast.
Jason
I'm going
Lee.
fast here.
Jason Lee's up there.
He's also a Scientologist.
Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, never mind. I love Jason Lee. Jason Lee, come on the podcast.
Trey, can I get on SeatGeek to find tickets for entertainer or performer?
Yes, you can. In fact, everything about SeatGeek is designed to make life easier for sports and music fans.
But Trey, I need monetary amount back if I'm purchasing a ticket.
Well, you see, SeatGeek does all the price comparisons for you by searching multiple ticket sites and ensuring that you get the best possible deal. SeatGeek does all the work and you save time and money. And SeatGeek wants to help you get the most bang for your buck. That's why every ticket on SeatGeek is given a grade based on value. You'll immediately see any underpriced seats and be able to find the best deals that fit your budget. Best of all, Super GamesCast 64 listeners get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. To get your $20 rebate on tickets, download the SeatGeek app, go to the settings tab and click add a promo code, enter promo code
Belt.
Super. Or belt.
No,
you can do that
put
too.
super. Put super.
Super. SeatGeek, I'm sure there's like 50 supers out there. SeatGeek will send you $20 and after that, you've made your first ticket purchase. Download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code SUPER today.
Wow, Trey, that sounds really cool. I
That
sure am going to
sounded
download insert ticket purchasing app.
Speaking of attending things, was it you, Austin, that on the Cirque show did the adult convention thing where somebody was interviewing various adult film stars?
Well, I certainly did, Brad.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That was really good.
Congratulations,
You had
Austin.
a very good demeanor.
Thanks.
And you got a lot out of those performers. It was very entertaining.
I had to work them real hard.
Okay. Were they looking at you weird, or is this? I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm sure they've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. But you were very what's the term called where you're not undertone, whatever.
Underappreciated?
No, just laid back, I guess.
Laid
Deadpan?
back?
Deadpan, there you go.
Deadpan.
Thank you. I'm very tired and I'm full of Arby's, so
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm
God, no
gonna be
wonder.
careful.
I actually like Arby's. They're a fine sponsor, Trey.
They are
So,
a fine sponsor. Arby's. Build
Insert
it beautiful.
sandwich.
I love Arby's, but
Yeah.
but I don't like post Arby's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the diarrhea is not great.
It's not.
The first part's fine.
Everything's diarrhea to me, so that part doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this. This is Super GamesCast 64, the show about all the video game things and all the stuffs. My name is Trey Mitchell. To my immediate front left is Austin Guttery.
Are you going to let me say hi?
Yeah, say
Well,
hi.
you haven't told me to say hi since
Say
you're just
hi.
commanding the whole show,
I'm just
Trey.
commanding the whole show here. I'm just trying to get the advice. I've been heated.
Okay, here I go. Ready?
Get right into it.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, Austin. To my immediate right front is Brad Folsom of the Folsom Prison fame. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you
Good?
guys doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Now Brad's here because we're talking about Battlefield 1, and that's the World War I shooter. And Brad here is he knows a thing or two about history, I've heard.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm only okay at World War I, so you guys aren't going to get a lot of insight out of me. My commentary is going to be pretty useless. So you made a horrible decision in inviting me here.
I probably did. I didn't realize that. We might have made some errors.
Yeah, I enjoy World War I, though. It's just that I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to offer nothing to this conversation.
Okay.
So You screwed up.
I did screw up. I should have
Yeah.
gotten a World War I guy.
No, I'll be fine. I love World War One. I teach it, and it's one of my sort of side projects that I read a lot about.
How do you, when you're teaching, I guess they're college kids, how do you get them to get interested in World War One? Because that's definitely not the most interesting war.
You just yell. You
Yell at
yell.
'em?
You wave your hands around, and then you put up pictures of, stuff that's gross, like
Mhm.
the No Man's Land. You just get that, and it just looks like rotten sewage everywhere, and guys laying in, the same pit where there's dead horses and crap, and that sticks in their brain. And,
Yeah.
and then you yell at them, and they enjoy it.
We're doing World War II next, and that gets them excited, right?
Yeah, World War II they love. I spend too much time on it, but World War One, it's an underrated war, which
Uh-huh.
is kind of a weird thing to say. But
And it's World War II is pretty much World War I Part 2. I mean,
yes,
it's-
I think in 200 years, when we have to condense history to fit it into the two classes we teach now, they're going to have the world wars be a single period, so you can make room for like the Pepsi Rebellion of 2075,
Pepsi Rebellion.
and then the
They had
cyborg
Pepsi
insurgents.
back then?
Hey, Pepsi's a fine sponsor.
No,
Let's
I'm
It's a
watch it.
saying
fine
like this
sponsor.
is in the future, like so you
Oh,
have to
okay.
condense things to make room for that in
Yeah.
the future. So
I want to hear more about the Pepsi Rebellion.
well, it hasn't happened yet. It's
Oh,
going to happen
okay.
in 50 years, and this is just it could be another corporate soda.
Don't you know history?
uprising. But it's not history. I'm
Future
trying to,
history.
Yeah, come on, Trey.
It's like those books, like, they're like, oh, Mexico's going to rule the world.
I don't know. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I've
that's-
seen those.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Seen like in like the next 100 years, and it's always like, hey, next 100 years, you know what I mean?
What's he talking about?
Don't worry about
You
it.
can take a
You
nap?
read books about language, why language
I
sucks.
do really. Yeah.
About Elvish and whatnot.
I have a desire to make a language out of 10 letters because we have 10 fingers and we can type easier if there are 10 letters.
Okay, I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trey, get on that.
I'm gonna get on it first. We're gonna
Cool.
get on this, Austin.
Hey, World War One reminds me of a certain video game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, called Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1. So Battlefield, if you don't know, is a video game franchise. We probably should have researched the history of Battlefield, but we
Came out
didn't.
Battlefield 1941
Yeah,
or 1942.
that came out in 2002.
Yes.
I thought it was earlier than that.
No,
That's neat that it's a newer franchise.
yeah, newer franchise. But yeah, it's a first-person shooter, but it's more of an arena, more of a large-scale, destructible environment kind of shooter. Kind of opposed to Call of Duty, where Call of Duty is more straightforward story. This is more open. This is more, you can play multiplayer with 22 people. It's just massive.
And then they went to modern times, just like Call of Duty,
Mhm.
and then they went to Battlefield.
Copland.
Yeah, Copland, and now we're resetting the thing back to 1918 or so.
Yeah, and
with
I
Battlefield 1.
believe this is the first World War One. Well, probably the first World War One game like this, right?
Well, high budget one.
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause-
They had mods for Battlefield 1942. I can remember where you would, get in the biplane and stuff
Mhm.
and go up. But
Because they had the game called, oh man, it was a little indie. It was not indie. It was by Ubisoft, but it was it was almost a story game that came out a few years ago, and it was based on World War One, but it was more story based. You played as a dog, and it was very very wasn't like this massive shooter. And when they announced this, people were excited because World War One has not been seen in video games before because it's very hard to do. It's trench warfare. It's it's the start of mechanized war. It's very brutal and bloody and slow, and so they definitely took this is not historically accurate to a T. I don't know how much you've played of it.
oh no, I played
okay.
I played a lot of the campaign. I played a little bit of the multiplayer, and I think what they did here is you did have the exciting stuff in World War One. It was it wasn't the rule, but it was what the hell term am I trying to think of? You can tell I'm tired. It wasn't the rule, but it was the
Exception.
exception,
Exception,
not
okay.
the rule. So I think what they did is they took those exciting elements and they just stretched it out. Let's not focus on the trench warfare. Let's not have players sit in a trench for a
Mhm.
week at a time waiting for relief, and let's have that one exciting point where you go up against a blimp and or Zeppelin and
Now,
and
I
all
thought
that.
Zeppelins were more World War II.
No, World
Okay.
War One. No, they're by World War II. Everybody realized these things pretty much suck ass.
Yeah.
So World War One was the height of the Zeppelin.
When did the Hindenburg
30s.
disaster?
That was actually the
30s,
30s.
okay.
And Zeppelins didn't go out of style in the 1920s. America had its own air force, air force. But these Germans had a different problem than the Americans because their Zeppelins they had to fill with hydrogen because they didn't have access to whatever chemical process creates helium. So Americans, we made ours with helium. Germans did it with hydrogen. And as you guys know from playing the game, what does it mean if you fill a ship with hydrogen?
It's a big old bomb.
Yeah, it's flammable. And so, but ours, the problem with ours, it wouldn't go up in flames like that, but they get blown around all over the place. You
Yeah.
have wind, and you just get thrown into the ocean. So we got rid of that crap. And
Yeah.
there were a handful in World War II, but by then most people realized these things suck ass. So
They look cool, though.
very cool.
Fun fact about helium, it's not created. It looks like it's a very rare element that is the process of radioactive decay. It's a result of that. So
Austin's
that's
our
why it's-
science guy.
that's why it's very hard to come by.
Yes.
So what do you get out of the ground? How are we doing this?
I think
yeah.
Places
Are
in-
we in a shortage?
I think it's mined from the ground. Yeah, we're running out of it too.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The crap we fill balloons with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's the reason we're running out of it because it has a lot of legitimate medical uses, but people use too much of it in balloons, and then because it's so light, it just floats out into the upper atmosphere.
Did
so
you
we
just
can't
learn this from
retrieve it.
Googling in the half second me and Trey
No,
were
no,
talking?
I've known this for a while, but I learned about the radioactive decay just now.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah,
That's a good helium knowledge.
yeah.
Mhm.
Back to Battlefield
That's
1.
why
Sorry.
we got this guy. We don't have to always stick to script, but
Okay.
just the beginning, because we're good. I
All
just
right.
want to make sure we got into the game as quick as possible. But we can have fun. We can have fun in this. This is about video games.
But
They're
I was
fun.
gonna say, I think they do a really good job in like setting the tone for World War I because you have the disgusting trenches, you have like these exciting elements of it. The Ottoman campaign, I barely got into that one, but I think they get the setting right, and they get, I didn't pick up on a couple of the weapons were a little bit off, but I think you have to do that because if you really had World War I. With the tanks like they really were, with the machine guns like they really were, people are going to throw their controllers down in 30 seconds because shit sucked. Guns would get jammed all the time.
Well, they in that tank mission, they did actually kind of do that, like the big Bess, and it was always breaking down. And
Yeah, I mean, to fix a giant tank like that, all you got to do is run up to
Wrench
it with
and
your
wrench
wrench
and
and just
wrench.
wrench
Yeah.
the side of it,
That's all
and
you
it's
gotta do.
totally fine.
Yeah, but even then, I think you're running over things. You're going all of these wires. You're going in and out of trenches. These things get stuck all the time, and just the camera inside of them, it looked like they're, 1,000 square foot
Yeah,
apartment
yeah,
or
yeah.
something. It didn't look like the cramped things they actually were.
mm-hmm.
But again, I think if they actually had it operating where you just try to move moving all slowly and stuff, it'd just be a frustrating process. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a good job with
All
it.
right. Also, what did you think of the game?
Well, I've never played a Battlefield game. This was my first one. I've seen people play them before. My friend David played Bad Company 2 quite a bit, or just Bad Company, and he really liked it. I thought the destructible environment in that was cool. I'm not into first-person shooters that much, especially more realistic ones like this. I don't like run and gun,
Mm-hmm.
but I found myself enjoying this immensely. I liked the slower pace of it. I liked the more realism to it, whereas Call of Duty is just grab a gun, run, get shot, pick up another gun, switch loading real quickly and everything. And then this seemed a lot more, not strategic, but, I had to kind of slow my pace and be a little more methodical with it. I enjoyed it a lot. I played the first mission only, so I played just the English guy with the tank, and
Yeah.
I found it nice and challenging. I kept dying when I'm trying to lead the tank. Once you get out into that open field with the little fort, dude, I could not get past that
Yeah.
for the longest time. And I like a game like that where it's not just run and gun.
That was tough for me because I kept I cleared the whole fort out, and then I just kept I couldn't find anyone.
Yeah, they kept sending waves.
Yeah.
Once I got used to the gameplay where it's more, not stealth, but it's more kind of,
there's a lot of stealthy
Oh, yeah.
parts to it though.
yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. Like going in and getting those little nuts for the tank was very
Yeah.
kind of stealth. You could play that very stealthily, and Metal Gear Solid 5, you could just mark your enemies, and the same with
The binoculars.
yeah, and then the same thing with the Lawrence of Arabia mission. It's very similar where you
Yeah.
can just go into the encampment and just take out people. You can do it stealthily if you want. It felt very not like Metal Gear, but it was definitely very stealthy. And
You guys can have that shit. I hated that about the
yeah.
game. Like I am very much Call of Duty, Overwatch, where I've got to have constant stimulation. I'm like a child in that aspect, and I just would get so frustrated. I'm moving along, and I couldn't determine if this is supposed to be stealth or run and gun. And I just automatically just would run to people, and then I would die, and I would just have to keep replaying certain parts over and over again. So that's the one thing I didn't like about the game.
I'm used to Halo, because that's the only first-person shooter I'll really play, where you're so fucking strong. You can just run into a crowd of elites and just blast them all away. But this, I eventually learned you not necessarily sneak up to people, but you gotta hide around corners and kind of wait for them to come to you and, have one-on-one. And it was a nice change of pace. It was refreshing.
yeah, I don't play a lot of first-person shooter games, so it was definitely, I was kind of seeing, okay, this is similar to this is similar to that. I was getting a little irritated by, I guess we can kind of go through all these missions if you want to. I was getting a little irritated by the guy you played, the Australian guy, the naval force, and you're going in, you're kind of like running through this trench, and I just keep getting killed because of just getting fired from everywhere, and just sort of the gun parts kind of, again, I'm not very good at first-person shooters, so a lot of the running and gunning is just, I don't like it very much. I like cover-based and getting into cover, knowing I can get into cover, knowing I can stealthily get through this, because I'm not very good at just shooting and then dodging and whatnot. Yeah, just so I guess we can go a little off topic. So I know you're a big Overwatch guy. So the whole Sombra reveal, how about? What do you think about that?
Don't get me off going on that unless you do want to talk all Overwatch. But I could go on forever about that.
We
But
won't go over that then.
I mean,
Thank you.
we can. Okay, yeah, we'll avoid it. But that particular mission you're talking about, where you're playing the Australian guy, I is exactly the same thing. Got into situations. I'm starting to get shot. My natural instinct is to just start popping up and shooting or run to cover. But then you'd have guys come around and shoot you, and I couldn't tell if they were unlimited or if they were, there's 5 guys, and I just happened to be killed by the 5th guy.
It's hard to tell who's who. Because
But I think that's kind of the idea. I think I really liked that.
That's a good point.
It was pretty realistic, where I was getting aggravated at first. Like, I can't tell who I'm shooting at, but then I was like, that's how the soldiers felt. And that's why there was so much friendly fire. And so then at that point, I was very careful about who I tried to shoot at.
Mm-hmm. We can maybe go through just sort of each little vignette. I think they did a really cool thing doing the vignettes rather than just a big overarching story. It kind of, I think the whole point of this game was to show the horrors of war, and you don't get a lot of that with video games at all. The horrors of war. I mean, Spec Ops: The Line did it. There's other games that do it, but like this, because it's very easy for a video game to glorify war, because you're usually playing as some badass soldier, and this you're not. You're playing as these little vignettes of these men and women who they're the little parts of the war, little skirmishes here and there, and they don't really, in the beginning it said like, the beginning, what did it say at the beginning? It had some text at the beginning that said something like
about how the world didn't change after it was the war to end all wars, and then
it
nothing
didn't change
changed.
a damn thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, powerful. And what it says about this game is you're kind of just, these are human beings that are having to fight, and you're not some big badass soldier. You're just this guy who needs to run this tank, or you're this this pilot who's like a con man. And that might be my favorite mission, just because I like flying in video games, and that was just a cool story. I thought that con man and getting into the British fleet, I thought that was really cool. And in the end, he's like, this is my, you don't have to believe my story, but that's what I'm saying. So you don't know if that really happened or not. So the first thing you get into is a tutorial.
Well, hold up. Can we talk about the mood a little more?
I'm sorry?
Can we talk about the mood a little more?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, right from the start, I was disgusted in a good way because you're just running through the mud, and then people around you getting shot, and then every time you die, you'd see the little epithet, and you just realize that nobody in this war is excited or happy or anything. It's just both sides. It set a really good mood of just being horrific. And I've never had a game quite, because when you play a game, you want to escape and you want to be like, oh, I'm bigger than the environment. You know, in Skyrim, you're this big, powerful dude and stuff. But in this, I felt smaller than the environment, and I felt it swallow me up, and I felt like sickened by a lot of the stuff, which is good.
Well, that's why I think the game kind of failed, is that I got the impression that you're going in and this thing is just going to talk about the terribleness of war and how, particularly this war, didn't really accomplish anything. And I was under the impression you're going to be playing British, French, American, and then also the Central Powers. Like, I thought you were going to be playing Germany, Austria, Hungary. This isn't World War II where you have, the Nazis running around and pretty much everybody agrees that, they were in the wrong here. Central Powers in World War I, the Germans, Austrian, Hungarians, they did some bad crap, but they had their legitimate reasons for fighting, and they weren't more horrendous than the other side. And so kind of thought it was a little weird that we only got to play the Allies and no Axis powers.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Or not Axis powers, Central powers.
Yeah, that's a good point. We did not get to play as those characters. We played as the winning side, but no, that would have been really cool if they've done that.
And Russia.
Yeah,
I think they're
also
coming up with an expansion pack with Russia, though.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
The fall of the Tsar and all that.
Yep. You get to kill Anastasia.
Yeah, Anastasia. You get to be friends with that cool bat, or is that just the cartoon?
The hell are you
The
talking
cartoon
about?
always creeped me out.
Trey, this is the third time you've said something. I have no clue what you're talking about.
You've never seen the movie Anastasia with the bat? He was the bat, the little bat
You're
guy.
talking about Rasputin?
No,
Rasputin?
Anastasia.
No, I know,
movie.
but
was it Bat Rasputin?
was
I
the
think it
bat
might have been
Rasputin?
Rasputin. I don't know, man. Let me look
You
this
talking
up.
about Aristocats with the rich cats?
I'm talking. Yeah, I'm talking
Is that
about
a joke movie?
the Mouse Adventure.
Fievel? Or An American Tail?
American
Fievel goes
Tail.
west?
Yeah, he goes the west.
Secret of Nim. You guys ever see that?
Oh
one?
my
Mhm.
god.
It's fucking scary.
Yeah, it scared me as a kid. Secret of Nim.
Y'all ever seen
Land Before Time.
movies? Yeah.
Let's go and run around. What
That's,
a
Trey, that's
peaceful
number
man.
4. I have no clue what you're talking
That's
about.
number 2.
I don't think you're...
Battlefield
That's the
needs
thing.
more dinosaurs.
Battlefield
Yeah.
does need more dinosaurs.
Well, Far Cry kind of did that where they went
Yeah, Blood
Far
Dragon.
Cry Primal or whatever.
No, Blood Dragon. Primal didn't have any dinosaurs in it.
No, I know, but I'm talking about where it was like
Mega
so
Far.
far back
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it was all that stuff.
So let's the first mission was the kind of tutorial, and you're just dying everywhere, and you played as a Harlem Globetrotter, right?
Yeah, but they're-
Hellfighter.
Hellfighter. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was kind of disappointed you didn't get to play more of the Harlem Hellfighters. You kind of just did that one mission, and I guess that guy though is kind of narrating the whole game. So I wish you could have played more of them.
History question. Were there black dudes back then? Like,
Yes, there were black people
Yeah,
during
there were
World War
black
II.
okay,
people.
Yes.
thank you.
They existed.
Were you going to ask if there were black soldiers fighting in World War
No, I was
I?
going to ask if there were black people.
Okay, all right. Well, question
But also,
answered.
yeah, were there black people in the war? I didn't think that they were really allowed until World War II.
Well, you had segregated units, so we had black units in the army, and you had African Americans serving in a Civil War. It's just they kept them segregated.
yeah.
And it is kind of wild ass that kept up until 1947. So you had this is a black tank unit, this is a white tank unit, and then that was the case in World War One. Yeah.
So were they sent like out on the front lines basically immediately?
No, I don't think it was anything like that. I'm sure there was some of that, but it was generally just this unit takes this area, this guy takes this area, and I'm sure you can point out some overt racism stuff, but actually the military, they just want to get the job done, and that's one of the things that actually broke down segregation was at World War II. You had or in World War I, you had a lot of people, officers would sometimes serve over black units, and they came back and said this is ridiculous that this stuff is still going on.
Right.
So, yeah, you had black fighters, but they were segregated.
Okay.
units, so.
Interesting.
So yes, there were black people in World War One, and
back then.
and back
And
then,
back then,
yeah, they existed at that point.
yeah, we didn't just tell them to go away until the 60s.
And then it came out of nowhere. So
Oh my
that's
God,
why-
there's black people again. I didn't know.
Whoa, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, Martin Luther King. Hey, how you doing? Didn't see you
Junior.
here. Oh, Junior. Sorry.
Thank you.
So you that first mission you're just dying everywhere, and then the second one is the tank mission where you play as an Irish soldier. Irish? Is he
Was it
Irish?
Northern Ireland?
Okay, let me see here.
Edwards, Daniel Edwards,
Mhm.
and you have the mustachioed commander who's always yelling at you. Oh, you get to play as the pigeon too.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's my question. How did that work? The whole pigeon carrying.
It was tough, but I got it. Like you just had to
No, I mean like literally. Like how did it like during that time? How did that work?
oh
I don't
okay.
fucking know. How the hell birds work? I have no idea how birds
I
work.
read
How do you
about
get
this.
a bird from one place to another?
I read about this.
Okay.
Each bird has a specific location it's trained to fly to, so it's not like you can tell it where to go and it just goes.
It's
So,
not like Hedwig.
right. Who, by the way, I just finished the last book, and what a like shitty way for Hedwig to die. It's like you hadn't heard from Hedwig for 2
Mhm.
books, and then zapped, and then fucking dead, and just falls down and never. Like Harry doesn't even go back to get her. At
I
any
don't even know
point.
what you're talking about. I've read every single one of those books.
Yeah, I don't
Were
remember.
there-
Oh,
that.
the owl. Yeah, that was fucked up.
They're
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
he's on Hagrid's motorcycle and they're escaping the
Oh,
Death
yeah,
Eaters.
I remember
and
that.
Avada Kedavra comes out and just hits Hedwig and then just drops her, and then that's the last we hear.
That's
Better.
that's just stupid.
Yeah.
That was a stupid way to kill that bird.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm sorry you had to read that.
It's okay. I shed a tear.
Okay.
But yeah, so these pigeons would be trained. They'd fly back and forth several times a day or a week or whatever, so they'd know when I'm released, I go that way. When I'm released, I come back. That's all they know. So they had a pigeon specifically for each location. So they
Mhm.
released it, and it would fly to the commander, basically.
Okay.
They tried to make a bomb out of pigeons in World War II. Like,
Yep.
I don't know how it worked, but using their location brain or whatever, that they would be a targeting pigeon bomb.
Like
It
did they
didn't
use
work.
their poop? The poop on the Nazis?
They did try to make an atomic weapon that was powered by a chicken. And the chicken would heat up, provide a heat source or something for the nuclear weapon. And
I don't know if
Fuck,
you're
I don't know.
serious right
Google
now.
it. Google this,
I
buddy.
don't think he's serious.
Chicken.
I don't know how to
atomic
get to
weapon.
Google.
Okay. All right. Well, the
That
audience
was a
should
fun
Google that
tank
up.
mission. Do you have any history stuff on the tanks that were used in the day? of
They were
that
just done.
day?
They just were kind of shitty. They
Yeah.
you could run up to them. You saw the little gun port they had at the side. That's because the first one came out, and you just had dudes just would walk up, slap crap on it, and explode them. And so they had to put the gun ports. That made them slower. That made them take more gas, and so they would just move really slowly. And they'd intentionally move slowly because, unlike the tanks in World War II, where you'd use them to like do all these maneuvering, they would just use them as almost shields. Reinhardt from Overwatch.
Yeah.
For infantry, so it would just be blocking this stuff. So they'd be limited in their speed, and there was some significant tank battles, but they were kind of not useless, but they weren't what they are going to be in the future wars.
Now, did they have unlimited ammo like in the game?
Yes, yes, they did.
Okay.
They did.
Did the Germans really have little hippie tanks? Little colorful
Those were
rainbow
cool little
tanks?
tanks.
I didn't
Little-
see this part. What are you talking about, hippie tanks?
Yeah, they're very like multicolored.
Oh yeah,
They're
those
tanks.
those things are yeah.
Is that a
Yeah.
camouflage technique?
I guess so. Yeah, they had wild ass camouflage back then.
Were they kind of cool back then, the Germans, and they just got really weird?
Yeah, dude, it's because of World War I they got weird. You
Yeah.
had a whole generation of men get killed, and then the women don't have dudes around. The 1920s in Germany was just weird. That like you had a bunch of gay culture and this weird scene where you get this national shame of losing World War I, and they just turn wild ass, and that's how the Nazis sort of rose up. Is enough with the wild assness. Let's
Let's
let's get back to work and stuff. So
let's be little Hitlers.
yeah,
Now Hitler might be in this game somewhere because he fought World War I, right?
boy, yeah,
Yeah.
it could be.
He should be a playable character.
I don't think that they'd make that decision because somebody's going to find out. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you,
Someone always finds out.
yeah, maybe that'd be an interesting little Easter egg or
You
something.
get to play
I
as
mean, it's not
Hitler.
offensive or anything like that if you put him in
No.
there.
Oh,
Okay.
that was before he turned all evil.
yeah,
right?
yeah. He was. Well, I think he was always a little bit off.
A little bit
but,
off. He really
but-
liked painting.
Yeah, really like painting.
He was a painter. You know that? Did you know that history fact?
I had heard something about that.
Did you-
But I made the declaration that I don't think Hitler liked to get shit on. And
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day because I think I was talking to my sister about something, and I think I said something about Hitler, and I'm like, that Hitler, people make up all this stuff about Hitler, but it's probably not true because what you said, like, are you really going to defend Hitler?
yeah, you're
Yeah.
not. So just say whatever the fuck you want about Hitler.
Whatever you
know?
want.
That mustache was really implanted pubic hair, just keep saying it and people believe it, you
Yeah.
know, like, because because nobody's gonna say no, it wasn't, because what the fuck are you defending Hitler for?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
What, you got any comments about Hitler, Austin?
No.
Anyway, so sorry, was that me that got us distracted on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. So that was that mission. Then you got the Friends in High Places. This was the aviation mission, and I liked this a lot. I liked
loved
it.
Yeah.
I like flying in games, so I love this. Yeah, I thought the story was cool. I don't think these stories were based on real people, right?
That one, it's not exactly based on somebody, and from what my understanding, and this is what somebody told me. I don't know this from my personal research or anything like that, but that there was somebody who claimed to have done similar things to that, and nobody could disprove them. It's not the real guy in the game, but it's loosely based on that person.
Okay.
So, but Americans were badass pilots in part because we had the automobile. More Americans had automobiles before than the British, French, or Germans, just because Henry Ford had come along. So we were badass pilots. We got over there, and we were really good at the beginning. But the planes in that mission, that I really loved that flying stuff. But they weren't that very effective either. Like if you'd have pulled up hard like you do in those games and doing those loop to loops, you would your plane would stall out and you'd sort of fall to the ground and the guns weren't that accurate and they were always getting jammed and stuff. So it wasn't as efficient as that. But if you did that, people would just throw down their controller and say this sucks. So yeah,
realistic. They'll probably make a realistic mod someday.
Yep.
Just everything breaks down.
I used to play this World War I game back in, I guess, late 90s where it was real, and it was just a pain to play. Like, it was just annoying. Your plane would just randomly fall to the ground, like it really happened,
That was fun, though. The whole getting hit in the head with one of the wheels and just all the, getting out of your plane and fixing something, then going back in, just all that kind of exhilarating Indiana Jones kind of stuff. I enjoyed it.
Did you take your wrench out and just kind of screw on one of the...
Just screwed on one of the little...
Yeah, just tighten one of the wings.
One of the wangs.
Yeah.
Then you got the Avantes Avion. I can't pronounce it, so I'm going to say it like that. That's the Italian guy whose brother... There was a really short one, but it was really cool because you played in this big suit of armor, this like knight almost, and just mowing down bitches. I got a little stuck though with the TNT. I don't know if you got stuck on that part.
TNT.
Yeah, you had to blow up the big gun. I couldn't figure out how to get the
I
TNT.
think that's yes. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, that was too slow for me. Like, but that is not. I wouldn't say it's realistic, but you did really have wild ass armor. I don't know about that particular type of armor, but you would have people just slap crap together. I know there was one American, and I think it was right before World War II, that developed the suit of armor and had people shoot a machine gun at him, and he actually survived it. So you did have that stuff, but I don't think that this guy, like I got shot 5,000 times by like tanks and stuff. That wouldn't have survived that, but it was kind of neat because it was the equivalent of the Juggernaut armor in Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, probably not super realistic, but good enough for me.
Mm-hmm. I thought the story was cool there. Little brotherly, losing your brother and all that. Every story, every vignette had kind of a point to it, which was interesting, which was good.
Who was he talking to? His kid? Who was he talking about?
Yeah, he was talking to like his daughter or something.
You don't need to tell your daughter about that stuff, Well, if I was in a suit of armor mowing people down with a machine gun, I'd
pretty awesome, yeah.
Probably tell everybody.
Then you have the runner. That's the Australian message runner, the naval fleet. I only played a little bit of that, then I got stuck. I don't know if you guys finished that at all.
I think you and I got the same part because we kept getting shot in the little trenches.
Yeah. And that was, so I don't really know exactly what happens with that. Then you had Nothing Is Written. That was the T.E. Lawrence. But you play as a woman in his battalion or whatever. I thought that was interesting. More stealthy, more kind of going in, infiltrating a base. I thought that was a pretty cool gameplay. The horse felt good. I was worried the horse was not going to feel good. A lot of games don't do a good job, with horseback. I thought they did a really good job. It felt good. The horse did.
I would just get on the horse and run towards people, and I would
just run them over. I would just run them over with the horse. So T.E. Lawrence, because I'm confused on the whole timeline of that. That was, and you say you don't know much about it, but I don't know if you know the timeline or not. That was during World War One.
Yeah,
I thought it was in between World War One, World War Two.
No. From the way I understand it, is he was sent in by the British, and he incited a lot of people that were unhappy to be part of the Ottoman Empire, and led the sort of guerrilla style warfare against them. But again, I'm not the guy to go with him. But you saw the movie, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah, that's about I know the basic premise of the movie, but other than that,
It's Bob Stern likes to talk about movies from like the 60s and 70s being too long. That's an example of them. One of them. It's really long, and it's just they could have cut out an hour of that movie. It was beautiful, beautifully shot, beautiful movie, but it was a little too long.
But I guess that hits the other point with that. A lot of people have problems with Lawrence of Arabia and the British during World War One because they did, fight this Ottoman Empire, but then they ended up essentially forming colonies out of the Ottoman Empire and saying like, all right, well, we're freeing these people, but then we're kind of going to rule them, some of them ourselves.
Of course, they're the British.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that kind of, because the Ottoman Empire went away, but that probably started, I know the Cold War started the Taliban, but did that have anything to do with it too, the Ottoman Empire and the British coming in and all that?
Well, Britain would control Palestine and Iraq and well, yeah. Actually, this does have a lot of effect on now that I think about it because they just drew lines and you can think of a lot of the problems today we got with Iraq and stuff because they went through after this and they just drew almost these random lines on a map to separate the British mandates and the French mandates, and they would just say Kurdish peoples, Sunnis, Shias, or whatever, Sunnis, Shias. Who cares about that? And they just drew these arbitrary lines, so you get the Kurds stuck in an area where it's predominantly Sunnis and Shias, and so in Europe when they redrew the lines after World War I, they paid close attention to get linguistic ethnic groups together. But when dividing up the Ottoman Empire, it's just like fuck it, just divide them up. However, so it does have a lot of stuff to do with trouble in the Middle East.
All right. So yeah, those are all the little vignettes. I thought they did a good job. They have a lot of room to maybe putting some DLC, some more story stuff. That'd be really cool. You talked about the Russian campaign,
and then I think the French are getting up there too. We're gonna have some French stuff, which would be good.
Some beignets. Just have some beignets, some bread, French bread. Right, Austin?
It's a game about war.
Baguettes?
Yeah, baguettes.
Yeah, I carry them in grocery bags.
Yeah.
What about them?
So have you been playing the multiplayer at all?
I played one round of the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I like campaign way better.
Yeah, same here. I'm not a big multiplayer guy.
It was fun. I liked how big the
environment was.
Yeah, I'm used to Halo where everyone's 2 feet from each other at any time. You turn a corner and there's someone there and you get blasted and you run back and blast them again. This was cool, kind of teaming up with someone and riding a horse across and then slicing a head off and jumping in a plane and flying around. I liked it.
Yeah.
It felt like an actual battle and not like just an arena.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm not a big fan of those arenas where you're kind of just going in circles. And, it's the same kind of thing over and over. I know you are because
They tried to do the Overwatch model where they had Objective 1 and it's a very different Objective 2 and stuff like that, and I appreciate it. But for me, having played Overwatch, it's not as good a version of what Overwatch did, and that's the only mode I played online was the pseudo Overwatch mode. So
okay, I know there was some kind of pigeon thing you could do that everyone's talking about, but I haven't played that one yet, which maybe not be a good thing to say on a review of a game that we're supposed to play.
Well, no, if you don't play the pigeon mode, nobody cares about the pigeon mode.
Everyone loves the goddamn pigeon mode.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I only played the pigeon part.
Only the pigeons.
Yeah,
only the pigeon modes.
Yeah.
So it's been a big year for first-person shooters, definitely. I mean, we got Overwatch coming out. We had Doom. We had and just 3 weeks we had Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And it's this last 3 weeks has kind of not been so good on Titanfall, which I hear is really good. really good.
Is it?
I love the first one. I played the demo for the second one. I didn't like it as much, but I'm eager to hear what you guys have to say about it.
I mean, I haven't played it yet. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I've been hearing a lot of buzz and a lot of what people like. Austin, have you played it at all? Or
I played the first one a lot. I've heard nothing. Is it out yet?
yeah, it's been out.
I haven't heard jack shit about it. Like, there's
Really?
been no promotional material. I've seen no reviews.
Dude, it's all over the Cowboys game. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Really?
surprised. Yeah, for whatever reason, they're advertising like Cowboys game, and I don't know where
I
the
don't remember
budget's
that.
going with that.
That's-
but-
I mean, I really liked the first one. I played it for a few weeks, and then it was just kind of the same thing, and I didn't have that much interest to get Titanfall 2.
There's a story in Titanfall.
I am
2.
interested
They have
in
a
that.
story
That'll
mode.
be cool.
Yeah, and I hear it's been compared to Mega Man. It's been compared to
Hey, man.
yeah, because you have all these like bosses you have to fight.
Okay.
And it's been compared to Half-Life. I mean, I hear it's really good. People really enjoy it, but I hear the sales are struggling because EA put out Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2
Too close to each other.
well, they were trying to combat Call of Duty, but
Mhm.
they might have screwed Titanfall over because people were so burned by the first one that they're kind of cooled on the second one. And also the whole thing of how much money are you really going to spend in 3 weeks on video games?
Right.
I bought this and I'd like to get Titanfall, but I don't feel good about spending money on it. And I'm not a Call of Duty guy. And I hear the new Call of Duty's all right, but I don't really care. So
Yeah. I honestly, I probably won't get Titanfall. I will definitely rent it, play it for a little bit, but I'm not gonna buy it.
what are you looking forward? Are you going to play any of those games, Brad?
Yeah, if I don't have internet great trade.
Oh, yeah, I heard
had to go
about
over
that.
to a friend's house to play.
I've heard all
Call
about
of-
this,
Call of
yes.
Duty, and I'm not a very wealthy man. So
But you're a teacher. Don't they make thousands of dollars, millions of dollars?
if you have tenure, you do okay. But if you are a guy that's competing with a million other people for a position, then you get paid jack nothing. By the way, are you guys hiring over at the Well for a guy that's not very good at things except for history?
Yeah, we have Mike Soroy there. He's not very good at a lot of things.
Okay,
So if he leaves, then we definitely have a position for you to fill.
All right.
All right. What does Mike do there?
He sits in a chair.
Yeah.
He brings his dog sometimes. Trey, I'm gonna be honest. Mike actually does a lot. He's a support guy. Whatever we need help with, he does. He runs and gets stuff. He's always emailing people, talking to people. He's picking up all the slack that we wouldn't be able to
Right.
keep up.
Okay.
I'll tell you off air what I actually feel,
Okay.
but-
Sounds good. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. Battlefield 1.
Me too. How many thumbs up do you give it?
50 thumbs up, but then
Out of what?
26 thumbs sideways and 1 thumb down, but with another thumb up.
So you're giving it about a 27 out of 50.
I thought it was good. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it because I got Skyrim and I want to get the platinum for Uncharted 4. I need to play Mass Effect. I need to play Metal Gear Solid 4. I need to get caught up on all the Metal Gears that I want to play. I got to get caught up on Mass Effect. And stuff.
I'd like to go back to it. All I'm playing right now is Civ, and we still have a week till
Yeah,
Pokemon.
Pumpkin Man?
Pokemon.
Oh yeah, we got to do that review too.
Yeah.
That'll be an easy review because I
Yeah.
can just play that here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play Civ here. Yeah, we have been playing Civ. We're gonna do that podcast next.
I
And
taught
guess
Trey.
Brad's pretty big Civ guy.
I love it, man. And you got TC going with you, so
Yeah.
he's going to be a lot better than I am or have been. But yeah, if he backs out on you guys, I'd love to
Okay.
talk Civilization.
All
so.
right. Well, we can talk about it a little bit if you want to talk about it.
No, I just
Let's save it, Trey.
yeah, you guys got to
We
save
have
it.
content. Content is king, remember?
Content is king.
Thank you.
Content is king.
Content with an O. please.
Content.
Yeah, content is also
In
king.
a post-Trump world, you can say anything you want.
Yeah, I'm very content with
I'm
this
content
content.
too. So what'd you think, Brad? What was your? I guess this is the first positive review we've given on this blowout
I like
podcast.
Pokemon Go. I didn't like No
Oh yeah,
Man's
I guess
Sky.
you're right. I guess
Uh,
this is the first video game
Yeah.
we've talked about. I don't know.
We seem to like a lot of stuff on our weekly one.
Yeah. This is the first video game that we liked, because I wouldn't call Pokemon Go a video game. It was more of an app.
Felt it wasn't a kick in the ass. I thought it was good, but I think there's better multiplayer out there and less frustrating for first-person shooters there. I'm very glad I
guess
played
what's
it.
the difference between this and is it more of the floatiness of Overwatch, or
It's just the diversity and the strategy, and there's not as much. It doesn't feel like there's as much going on, which I think is kind of positive for me. Like this one, I like the setting in the single player, but in the multiplayer, like sometimes it's hard to make people out, and I know that's intentional, but I don't like that. I want to,
You want to know?
Yeah,
You want to see that big old gorilla and get it?
Yeah,
what's it, Reinhardt?
No,
they got the cowboy.
Yep,
and the hot chick that everyone draws and puts in there.
Boy, they do too, man. They love to draw that blonde girl. And, the MILF blonde.
The girl with the short hair too.
Yeah,
Tracer. What's her name? Yeah, Tracer.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of drawings and pornies, all that.
All right, so Brad, how many hundreds of thumbs down do you give Battlefield?
Yeah,
1?
how many hundreds?
206.
Okay, 206 thumbs down from Brad. We had a weird, different directional thumbs from Trey.
A lot of directions on thumbs.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it 75 thumbs up out of 100 thumbs possible.
So you give it a 7.5 out of 10?
Yeah, the few hours I played, I really enjoyed. It may be shit, the whole thing. I'm gonna go back and play some more. I'd like to. So thumb up.
I give it a thumb up too. I liked it. It was enjoyable. I don't know. I mean, it makes me excited to see maybe if they could do a World War II game like this.
No, let's keep going back. Let's do an 1812.
Let's do it. I'm all for that.
Let's do a fucking like rocks on the end of sticks.
I'm into that. Some kind of like the War of 1812 game.
That'd be cool.
Because no one knows what the War of
American,
1812 is.
This guy does.
What's the War of 1812?
It's a war that took place in 1812.
All right.
More than you knew, Trey.
I guess we're not taking this seriously anymore.
In 1815.
So anyway, this is a Super GamesCast 64. We're on the Blowout Podcast Network. We also do our own little podcast where you can find on iTunes Super GamesCast 64, same name. So you just type that in.
Yeah.
We have websites, and you could go on my Twitter. My Twitter is CrayTrey1310. Yours is
Helen Smeller and Sports Sturm.
And we got Brad over here. Brad does the Below the Belt podcast on the Blowout Network.
You can follow me on Twitter at BitsAreFun, but I don't really ever get on Twitter. I'm so shitty about Twitter, and I really apologize. I'll answer questions and stuff on there, but hopefully I'm going to be getting on there and having fun content pretty soon.
You got a really good podcast about fighting and other things about your weird gay experiences where you get picked up and almost killed. You got a lot of weird stuff on that podcast, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, the Below the Belt podcast on Blowout Podcast Network. But it's tentatively about fighting and MMA, but we get into wild ass stuff too. So it's enjoyable. I think you guys like it.
Yeah, go check them out. They're great. I appreciate you coming up, man. I know it was really late.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I didn't bore you guys with
no. You were great.
No.
Okay.
You're better than old trash can Fleming.
Jeez. All right.
I'm kidding. I love TC.
He's a piece of shit.
Whoa.
He's probably not gonna listen to all this.
Yeah, we can say whatever we want about
whatever
TC.
we want, man. Trump's America.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say it.
Grab. I don't know. I can't think of anything that's not trite.
Well, all right. Anyway, just subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to all the Blowout podcasts on the Blowout. No, don't do that. Actually,
no, just subscribe to ours. Yeah,
and we do one weekly. If you like this, we do it weekly. We do more newsy kind of.
I already said all this.
More bing banging back and forth. A lot of
Brad,
bits
whose podcast
stuff.
is this? Mine or yours? I can say things multiple times.
Turn his mic off.
Just turn.
You
it
have
off.
the power to do that, Trey.
Turn it off.
There we go.
It's not on anymore. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. We had a fun time.
Thanks,
talking
Brad.
about things. I'm just trying to pad time now.
Pad Thai?
Anyway, pad Thai.
I like Pad Thai.
Are we gonna sing a song
No
or
one's
not?
listening.
We usually do a song.
We do a song usually, Brad, but you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
I listen to you guys. Like I listen to every big one. I honestly I didn't realize that you had the one on the other not on the Blowout thing.
Hey, Brad.
I would listen to that too.
Hey, Brad.
Yes.
Hello, darkness.
My old friend. I've come
to talk with you again. Because the vision softly sleeping
left its
as I
seal
was sleeping.
and
The vision that was planted in my brain still remains.
He
Touch
touched
the sound of silence. Thanks, Brad.